I don't think you want to know, Dante. Oh no, Protoferris is gone! Oh well, whatever, let's move on. So, while the characters don't know where they are, we do. This is the stomach of the Leviathan. It's an interesting dungeon to say the least, sort of. It's a very simple dungeon. Not many enemies in here. There's like 3 new enemies, and none of them are really that good, except these boltfish that are right here. Now, as the name implies, and as the fact that they're using lightning might suggest, they actually absorb electric magic, so they don't actually have any sort of magic weakness. Now, that does benefit them a little, but not that much, because you can just stab them and you'll be fine. So, it's really only a problem when they appear in groups with other aquatic enemies, aka if they appear in a group with the other 2 enemies that are in this dungeon, then yeah. Because there are 2 other new enemies, and then I think, yeah, they all just appear in one group, or can appear in one group, rather. So, the layout, of course, is pretty simple. I mean, it's a stomach. Do you really think there's going to be a maze in a stomach? And of course, the most dangerous thing here is the stomach acid, which slowly drains away HP as you walk over it. It's not too bad, though. It does apparently poison everyone in the dungeon when you walk over it, though, because everyone glows purple. I don't know why that is. Nah, you think? You think we all are here under the same circumstance that we were devoured by a gigantic sea monster? You really think that's the case? So this guy's blocking our way. He's got some pretty interesting armor. Unfortunately, he's not part of the Wild Rose, but if we ask him about Ultima, he does seem to know about it, though we don't answer his question for some reason, we just sort of leave him hanging. If you'll remember, back in Diced, we actually learned of a Dragoon, rather, who left to find the Ultima tome some time ago. Well, apparently it's this guy. This is Rickard, and I guess he's now officially the last Dragoon. But I guess he's not dead as we thought he was. In fact, he was just swallowed by the Leviathan all along. And since we showed him the crystal rod, we can't just ask him about Ultima, we have to show him the rod, because I guess he just thinks, it might be some idea, we might not actually know what Ultima is, but once we present evidence that we can actually get to Ultima, then he'll join us. Of course, it's kind of rude that he stands there until, we can actually show him that rod, because we couldn't get in here otherwise, and this is where the civilization is, this is where all the beds and the bookshelves and everything is. He would have just stood there for all eternity. Thankfully, we had a crystal rod. Although, apparently that's not special, because everyone here has a crystal rod. Everyone. This guy's got a crystal rod, and that lady's got a crystal rod. Hell, that fucking chair probably has a crystal rod. Why else would it have been eaten? Yep, so while we could get to the tower beforehand without being devoured, we wouldn't have been able to access it, but now that we can access it, we get eaten by Leviathan. Something tells me that was on purpose. Somebody just set that there, set this Leviathan here to devour anybody who tried to come after the Ultima Tome. Kind of a cheap trick, really. Just devours anyone. I mean, that's going a little overboard. I mean, we had to do so much work to actually get here in the first place. And now we have to, stop being devoured. I mean, that's just an unfair trial, really. I mean, you have to find 2 masks, then get a rod, and then you have to get out of a stomach. That's not really something most people can do, really. Thankfully, these enemies aren't that difficult to take down, as I said before. Enemies in here, other than boltfish, really not that interesting. Just swept the floor with those guys. Like the flying rays, they're nothing to worry about. So, we do have a few items here. Oh, look at that, that's the enemy combination. So, this is kinda tricky because boltfish absorb electricity, and all the other enemies, well, they're weak to electricity, but if we try attacking using electricity, then we will, heal the fish. But it's kinda like the flan enemies, where it doesn't really matter that much if you do a party attack or group attack on all these enemies and heal the boltfish if you don't attack them in the first place, because again, what do you have to heal in that case? What are they healing off? They're not healing anything at all. And that takes care of that. Easy enough. So, I believe there's a chest all the way down here. Get a diamond shield. Oh, but of course we had to fight something first. But luckily, it's just a couple of red souls. Well, 4 red souls. That's not a couple, that's double a couple. Luckily, these guys are easy to take out as per usual. These guys are old enemies. I mean, we fought them before the Dreadnought, so they're really weak by this point, especially with that lucky preemptive attack. And look at that, they didn't even waste our time with any magic spells. So yeah, that's easy enough. We get a free diamond shield without much of a hassle. So, what do you say we get out of here? Luckily, the Leviathan is just sort of carrying this boat in its mouth, or in front of its mouth, I guess? Well, regardless, it's very conveniently placed right there, but this roundworm's in the way. You want to know what the roundworm can do? Nothing. It doesn't do anything special. If you really want, throw up a protect. Don't need a shell or anything like that, because all it does is attack. It is kind of strong, but you really don't need to worry about it. I mean, I guess I'll throw it down a blink too. I mean, if it upgrades the blink spell, then why not, right? Might as well use it so it can be useful later. Because really, it's not going to be useful now. I was hoping that was going to be well-timed. It would die right after I said that. But it shouldn't take too much longer. I'm pretty sure it'll die this turn. It's got some decent HP, but nothing amazing, so, especially with a Masamune, this should be quick. Yep, there it goes. That's done. So yeah, very easy boss. Ooh, those are some pretty good upgrades. So let's just get it back on the boat now that we can. I don't know what's going to happen to those other people. I guess we're just leaving them behind. But whatever, who cares about those fuckers? So, that's the tower. Now, before we end off, why don't we just check out Rickard's stats real quick, because I didn't go over them the first time. And, yeah, well, we'll get to Ultima next time, but for the time being, I think we've taken care of business. We've closed the chapter on this whole Leviathan thing, and I think the seas are safe. So no one will ever get attacked by the Leviathan ever again.
Firion! Lydia! Young! Ah! Edward!